Welcome back to the Grim Tapes. This is chapter 4 of our ongoing zombie survival series, The Apocalypse. If you haven't watched episode 1, I highly recommend going back and starting from the beginning. The story builds with every chapter. Make sure to subscribe for daily horror episodes. And here's something special. Comment Apocalypse and your name down below. And I'll pick 3 people to be introduced as survivors or main characters in a future episode. You must be subscribed to be chosen. Now, let's dive in.
The Apocalypse. Chapter 4. The fire crackled between us. No one spoke for a while. Even after the radio fell silent, Sawyer's words hung in the air like ash. Over 100 people, trapped in Belwick. And we were their only hope. We were circled around the flames, all of us weighed down by the same thought. How the hell were we supposed to pull this off? Chris ran a hand through his hair. We don't even have enough ammo for ourselves, let alone a rescue mission. We've got food, Maria said. We don't have enough people and firepower. She shook her head. We're going in with sticks and curses. That's when Rex sat up, a slow grin spreading across his face. Wait, Rick, you remember that depot outside Mason Ridge? Rick blinked. Holy shit, I'd forgotten all about that. Chris leaned forward. Depot? Rex nodded. Military supply drop, whole compound. Gear, weapons, rations, the works. Got overrun in the early days. It's still sitting out there unless someone beat us to it. Which no one did, Rick added. No one's crazy enough to go there. Rex grinned. But we are. Garen's eyes narrowed as he stood. A new tension settled over the group. The kind that only shows up when a plan forms. Where is it? 2 days by boat, then another half-day hike inland, Rick said. Not easy terrain. But, Rex added, if we can clear it, we're walking away with more than just rifles. I'm talking grenades, maybe launchers, claymores if we're lucky, something that'll make things go kaboom. We were all quiet for a second. Then Garen nodded. All right, here's what's gonna happen. Everyone looked up. 2 groups, me, Rick, Rex, Evan, and Chris will hit the depot. The rest of you hold the fort, keep everything running here. Lisa, Keenan, stay alert. Pamela, Maria, you 2 lead while we're gone. He looked at all of us. No jokes, no smiles, just the weight of what was coming. We stay in radio contact, no gaps. If you don't hear from us for more than an hour, you use the code Stormcloud. That means lockdown, total silence. Maria stepped up. We'll handle the island. Just make sure you come back. Then Garen looked at me and Chris, that smirk again, the one he gives right before pain. You 2, he pointed at us like a drill sergeant lining up new recruits. Before we go, you're getting trained. Properly, Sparta style. Chris actually groaned. God, why did I open my mouth earlier? I gave him a sideways glance. Because you hate comfort, clearly. The next day, hell, that's the only word for it. At sunrise, we were dragged out of our beds and straight into the training circle Garen carved into the sand. Push-ups until we threw up. Combat drills with dull machetes. Obstacle course through thorns and mud. Sprints with logs on our backs. Disarming techniques with Rex. Dodging drills with Rick, who had way too much fun throwing things at our heads. Lower your stance, Evan. You swing like you're afraid to hit something. I am afraid. Good. Fear means you're alive. Now swing again. Chris face-planted twice during endurance sprints and threatened to quit 5 times before noon. I nearly passed out during knife drills. Rex dumped water on me and said, no dying, not on training day. By sunset, I couldn't feel my arms. Chris had a bloody lip, a bruised eye, and a 1,000-yard stare, but we were tougher than we were that morning. We moved faster, hit harder. Our fear hadn't disappeared, but it had focus now. And deep down I knew this was for our very best and to become stronger. The sky was just beginning to shift, soft pink bleeding into gray, when Rick and Rex pulled Garen aside. They were standing near the dock, checking off crates and jugs from a clipboard. Fuel's loaded, Rick said. Food, water, med kits, radios. We've got everything. Rex added. Weapons cleaned and counted. We even found a few smoke grenades tucked away under the tarp. Garen gave a short nod. Good, I want this mission tight. No sloppiness, no surprises. While they talked shop, I found Pamela near the garden, checking on the squash vines Lisa had been tending. She looked up as I approached, hair tied back, sleeves rolled, face softly tired. She smiled. I didn't. I just stopped and stared at her for a second. She raised an eyebrow. What? Do I have dirt on my face? I shook my head. No, you look the same. Same as what? Same as you did in 4th grade. She blinked, then laughed. What? I scratched the back of my neck, suddenly nervous. I remember you, Mrs. Cartwright's class. You sat 2 rows over. Always had a blue ribbon in your hair and drew wolves in your notebook. Her eyes softened. You remember that? I remember everything. I took a breath. And I've been in love with you since then. I just didn't know how to say it until now. She stared at me, silent for a moment, then stepped forward, slowly, and kissed me. Soft, warm, and full of everything I never thought I'd get to feel in a world like this. When we pulled apart, she whispered, "Then come back alive, and say it again." Suddenly, "Oh!" We both turned. Chris and Maria were crouched behind the bushes, hands over their mouths, failing miserably to hold in laughter. Maria grinned, clapping. Chris wiped fake tears from his eyes. "That was so beautiful, Evan. I'm crying real post-apocalyptic tears here." I groaned. "Come on, Chris. Let's go before I leave you behind for real this time." I grabbed my gear, threw one last glance at Pamela. She mouthed, "Stay safe," and walked toward the boat. As I reached the dock, Chris jogged up behind me, Maria's voice calling after us. "Watch each other's backs. Don't do anything stupid," Pamela shouted. Rick and Rex were already on the boat, checking fuel lines. Rex gave me a lazy salute. "Don't worry, kid. I got your back. I'm too good looking to die today." Rick smirked. "Stay close, aim smart, and don't freeze. We've made it this far. We're not losing anyone now." Then came Garen, stepping aboard with that steady, unshakable presence he always had when things got serious. "Everyone loaded?" We nodded. He looked over us. 5 soldiers of misfortune, heading into God knows what, and gave a crooked grin. "Then let's go make some noise." The boat roared to life. Waves split beneath us as we pushed off, the island shrinking behind us like a fading memory. We sat in a loose circle on the deck. Silence didn't last long. Rex was the first to break it. "You know, I once dated this girl back in Savannah who could shoot better than Rick here." Rick rolled his eyes. "That's not saying much. You once dated a girl who thought raccoons were government spies." "She had conviction." Rex laughed. "That's rare these days." Garen chuckled, shaking his head. "Y'all are amateurs. Back in basic, I had a roommate who snored so loud we thought he was summoning demons. We made him sleep with a rag stuffed in his mouth." Even Chris cracked up. "That's probably what'll save us. Demon summoning snores." I leaned back, wind in my face, salt in the air. Laughed with them. Just for a moment, it almost felt like the world wasn't broken. Almost. We reached the mainland around noon. The dock was half rotted and crooked, jutting out like a splinter from the gray shoreline. Rusted metal signs flapped weakly in the wind, faded letters reading Blackwater Pier. The air was heavy with salt and something sharper, the coppery bite of old blood. You could taste it at the back of your throat. Rot, oil, death. Paint peeled from the guard shack. Barnacles clung to the wood. And just beyond the pier, movement. 3. No. 4 zombies wandered between scattered crates and sun-bleached lifebuoys. One had half a face. Another dragged a snapped ankle behind it like a useless tail. They hadn't noticed us yet. Then, silence on. Garen's voice cut through the air, low but commanding. "Eyes up. Watch each other's backs. You know the drill." We spread out in formation. Rick was already aiming from the rear of the boat with his suppressed M4. Fiefed. One down. Clean shot to the temple. I moved forward, crouched, knife drawn. Chris covered me from behind a broken crate. I slipped behind one, a heavy, bloated thing, and drove my blade into its neck. Twisted. Let it fall. Rex moved fast and low. Used a crowbar like it was an extension of his body. Crack, crack. 2 more hit the dock. By the time the last one even turned to react, Garen had already rushed it, blade under the chin, up through the skull. 5 targets down. No bites, no noise. I looked around at them, each one precise, focused. Not like the first time we fought together. We were soldiers now. Clear, Garen said. Rick, Rex, dock perimeter. Chris, Evan, with me. Move out. We jogged past the pier into a cracked, weed-choked road. Tall grass brushed our legs. Trees loomed like watchers on both sides. The further we went, the quieter it got. Birds stopped singing. No wind. Only the crunch of boots on gravel and the occasional low groan in the distance. Every few minutes, we'd see one. Lone zombies, staggering near the edge of the forest. We didn't waste bullets, knives, arrows. Silent kills only. Garen always walked in the rear, the last man, eyes scanning, making sure no one lagged behind. We moved for hours. 5, maybe 6. Past sunken fences and broken billboards, following the cracked path that twisted deeper into the woods. And then, we saw it. The depot. A long, low sprawl of gray stone and metal behind 2 layers of fencing. The first checkpoint was just up ahead. Rusted barricades, crushed supply crates, and a mangled Humvee parked sideways across the gate. And between us and it, zombies. Dozens of them, maybe 100, wandering inside the fencing near the entrance. Some still half-armored, helmets, vests, and riot shields. The kind you can't kill with a quick headshot. The kind that take a plan. Well, Rex whispered, crouched beside a half-dead bush. What's the plan? We crouched in the brush, eyes fixed on the depot. Rex peeked through a crack in the old perimeter fence. Too many, he muttered. Way too many. Zombies shuffled like cattle inside the checkpoint, wandering aimlessly in tattered uniforms and half-broken body armor. Some wore cracked riot helmets. Others had old MRE packs slung over one shoulder like forgotten soldiers. Garen scanned the horde with a cold, calculating look. We can't take them all head on. Then what? Chris whispered. Sneak in? Rick shook his head. No good. They'll catch our scent. The second one spots us, the rest swarm. I glanced at the fence. Tall, rusted chain link with barbed wire curling at the top. A kill zone if we used it right. We pull them to the fence. Everyone looked at me. Lure them in one at a time. The ones with helmets, stabbed through the face. The rest, just straight to the brain. Garen nodded slowly. Good. He knelt and started drawing in the dirt with a stick. We bait. We split up into 2-man teams. Noise control. If they start grouping up, we fall back to the kill line. Here, he pointed to a narrow alleyway between 2 old watch posts. We go quiet, controlled, quick. Keep your rhythm. Don't lose your nerve. We moved like ghosts. Chris and I took the east side, tossing small rocks, whispering, clicking metal to draw a few in at a time. The first one shuffled toward us, jaw slack, eyes rotting. No helmet. Shht! Straight through the skull, dropped like a sack of bricks. Rick and Rex took the north. Same method, same kill. Then came the helmeted ones. Rex caught the first, jammed his blade under the chin, through the soft spot behind the jaw hinge. A clean, wet crunch. They dropped 3 more like that. 10, 15, 20. It was working, until... Cree! The far section of the fence bent. Too many pressing in. Garen's voice cut through the air. Fall back! Kill zone now! We scrambled. The fence groaned again, then gave out with a metallic screech. They flooded through, armor clanking, jaws snapping, dozens of them. Every instinct screamed run, but Garen didn't. He charged. He was a blur, machete flashing, feet moving like he was dancing with death. Shh, okay. 1 down. Crack. Elbow to temple, twist, jab. Helmeted zombie. Didn't matter. He yanked one forward and slammed its skull into a post, then drove a boot through another's knee before stabbing upward. His rage was surgical, efficient, savage. Rick roared and jumped in next. covering Garen's flank with wild but brutal swings of a crowbar. Rex tossed a zombie over his shoulder, knife plunging down midair. Chris let out a battle cry and swung a wrench into a skull so hard the handle bent. I didn't even think. I just moved. Knife to temple, boot to chest, spin, duck, stab. Blood sprayed like rain. The noise was deafening. Snarls, metal, grunts, screams. Helmeted zombies charged. We fought dirtier. Garen grabbed one's helmet, twisted it off with raw strength, then crushed the exposed head like a melon. "Hold the line!" he bellowed. We did. It felt like hours, like war. Limbs were flying. Blood soaked the dirt. Armor crunched under boots. And then, it was quiet. The last zombie dropped to the gravel with a wet, final thud. I stood there, soaked, panting, vision swimming. Everyone else was the same. Garen had blood down to his elbows, his chest rising and falling like a war drum. Chris leaned against a concrete post, drenched in gore, grinning like a madman. Rex dropped to his knees and let out a dry laugh. "Holy hell!" Rick spat in the dirt. "You boys went full berserker." Garen turned to us slowly. That was phase 1. He looked at the depot beyond the checkpoint. "Let's find our boom." The depot stretched ahead like a steel graveyard. Corridors lined with lockers and footlockers. Concrete walls chipped by old bullet holes. Faded military posters peeling from the walls. But behind the rust and dust was treasure. "Holy hell," Rex muttered, prying open a crate. His eyes lit up. "Boys, we hit the damn jackpot." Inside, claymore mines, stacked, wrapped, pristine. "I got C4 over here," Rick shouted from the back room. He lifted a plastic case marked "Handle with Care" and grinned like a kid at Christmas. Chris popped open a tall locker and nearly dropped the lid. RPG launcher with rockets. He held one up like it was Excalibur. We moved fast after that, like ants on sugar. Garen kept count while Rex took inventory. 5 AK-74s, 8 MP5s, 2 saws, belt-fed. He looked over at me. "That's a squad automatic weapon, kid. You get behind one of these and even the breaker's gonna pause." 10 crates of ammo, every caliber we could dream of. Smoke grenades, flashbangs, even armor vests, some still sealed. "More than enough to arm an army," Rick said, slapping one of the crates. "Or blow up half of Belwick." "Or both," Chris added with a smirk. We found 2 working Humvees in the rear garage, half covered in canvas tarps. Battery still good. Tires intact. Rex hot-wired one. Rick fueled up the other. Garen drove. We loaded the gear into both. Weapons, ammo, explosives, supplies. It felt surreal, watching those 2 beasts roll out of the depot like the old world had just handed us a second chance. The ride back to the dock was faster, smoother. The road was clear now, littered only with bodies and silence. The sea greeted us with open arms, waves lapping at the wooden dock like a heartbeat. It took hours, but we hauled everything from the Humvees onto the boat. Chris and I nearly dropped the RPG launcher twice. Rex tried to juggle flashbangs and got yelled at. Garen just stood back, arms crossed, making sure we didn't blow ourselves up. Once it was all secure, Rick adjusted the radio and tuned into Seabird. A burst of static, then Maria's voice. "Team Alpha, come in. You guys alive?" Garen clicked the mic. "Mission complete. We're loaded. ETA 2 days. Tell the girls to prepare a feast." Pamela chimed in, her voice soft but smiling. "We'll kill a goat for you. And some rum if you've got it," Rex added. Chris leaned into the mic. "Tell Lisa to get the fire pit ready. We're bringing the fireworks." I leaned back, letting the sea breeze hit my face, the Humvee engine below deck rumbling like a dragon sleeping. We weren't just survivors anymore. We were soldiers. The ride back to Seabird felt like something out of a dream. There was no blood on our boots, no screams behind us, no monsters in the trees, just the sound of the ocean and the sun on our backs. Rick and Rex were on deck, casting out makeshift fishing lines using scrap wire, old soda can tabs, and bait from a rusted tackle box they found in the Humvee. "All right, rookies," Rick called. "Time to earn your sea legs. Welcome to Fishing 101. Chris groaned. "Do I have to touch the bait?" Rex handed him a slimy bit of worm. "Only if you want to eat later." Garen joined in too, though like everything he did, it turned into a drill. Keep the line tight, eyes on the water. Feel the tension before you jerk it. Are we still talking about fishing? Chris muttered under his breath. Rick and Rex both lost it. When I finally caught one, a decent-sized striped bass, everyone cheered like I had just landed a whale. Chris caught nothing. Rick gave him a rubber fish they had found earlier and declared it a symbol of his eternal fishing shame. Later, Garen set up a fire pit on deck, safely contained in a steel drum, and started grilling. The smell of seasoned fish filled the air. He even found old packets of lemon pepper in one of the crates. Rex flipped fillets with a combat knife. Tactical cuisine, baby. The sun dipped low on the horizon. Banter flew back and forth like hot coals. You remember that zombie who looked like Coach Reynolds? I told you that wasn't him. I still say it was. Same chin. Even Garen cracked a smile, a rare thing. When the island came into view, it was bathed in golden light. Smoke trailed from the campfire, and standing at the dock, Lisa, Kanan, Maria, and Pamela. Waiting, we pulled in and docked. Lisa ran to us first, her eyes wide as she saw the crates and weapons being offloaded. You got all this? That's a real RPG. Keenan stepped forward, eyes fixed on the arsenal. No way. That's military grade. You guys really pulled this off. Maria just stood there stunned. You're all covered in stuff. Rex winked. Victory juice. Then Garen knelt, rummaged through a side pack, and pulled out a small red bag. He handed it to Lisa. This is for you. Lisa's eyes lit up as she opened it. Candy, gummy bears, lollipops, chocolate, all sealed, untouched. Her face absolutely beamed. Thank you, Uncle Garen. Garen stood proudly, arms crossed, smirking. Told you I'd bring back something sweet. Keenan cleared his throat. Lisa, no candy after 20, Ma, you know the rule. She groaned. Yeah, I know. While they bantered, I stepped forward, and Pamela wrapped her arms around me. Soft, real. I held her tightly. No words, just that feeling of finally coming home. She pulled back, brushing her hair behind her ear. I'm glad you're safe. I always come back to you. From behind us, Rick coughed dramatically. To be young again. All I ever bring home is bullet casings and back pain. We unloaded everything, crates, rifles, gear, until it felt like we could arm a small country. Then we feasted. Fish, canned beans, a rare bottle of old whiskey Rex found. Laughter echoed across the island. Plates clinked, jokes flew. It felt like the world hadn't ended. Like maybe, just maybe, we could start something new. But even as I laughed, even as Pamela leaned into me, I felt it, that quiet voice at the back of my mind, reminding me of what comes next. Tomorrow, we go to Belwick. And if today was the last good day, then we better make it count.
Thanks for watching Chapter 4 of The Apocalypse. This episode was a bit experimental. I added various sound effects to boost immersion and storytelling. Let me know in the comments. Should I keep doing it? Or do you prefer it more raw and simple? And don't forget, comment Apocalypse and your name below. I'll be picking 3 subscribers to be featured as survivors or main characters in a future episode. You must be subscribed to be selected. See you in the next nightmare.